Hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you so much, everybody joining us. Look at how many people we have joining us on time online. That is so fantastic. So thank you so much for giving up an hour of your day to spend time with us. We create these webinars for you. So we're really excited to share some inside tips to help grow your business. So this is the second webinar in our 4-part series. And anybody that was here for the first one will know the format. In our series, we follow the same format. And we created this format for these webinars so that it can be applicable and add value to anyone and everyone. That's kind of our little tagline. Some insights for anyone and everyone, whether you're new to digital marketing, and some 101 tips. And then we've also got the format to ensure that people that are advanced hopefully get some value out of it too. So again, thank you for joining us. This is your webinar. We do this for you. So please ask questions. Try and get whatever information that you need for your business today. So we've got that chat live. We've got 2 people watching those questions. We actually have a lot of Google questions that people have already submitted pre the webinar that we'll get to. So I kind of just shared that today we are talking all things Google. So today's webinar is going to be your Google strategies for tourism. And so I get myself in trouble. I do this a lot in life by calling them Googleopoly, because as we know, Google is the #1 search engine. And besides that, Google is all about maps. Google is all about YouTube and so many things that we're going to talk about today. And so that's why I always call them Googleopoly and get in trouble. And Renee's going to get mad at me for saying it already. And I am so pleased to share that today's webinar is going to be I'm hosting. It's going to be presented by Tip. Tip is an amazing T-Hawk that has been with us for 1 year and 1 month. So he just had his anniversary here with us. Before he started here, he's just like such a rising star. He started off as an intern at FCB, which is a big global agency. Started off as an intern. They saw how brilliant he was, and so they hired him full time. He then got snatched up by Mind Lab, but thankfully he is now well and truly our T-Hawk on our digital specialist team. So Tip, welcome to you and your amazing brain for today's webinar.
Yeah, good to be here. Nice to see everyone.
So let's show everybody today's format, which is the same format that we go through in our series. So we're going to share something new, something reliable, something underrated, something that you can do yourself, a little DIY, and then something that's trending. And then hopefully, if we haven't talked too much, or maybe answered all your questions throughout, we'll have some Q&A at the end. So enough from me. Over to you, Tip. Let's talk about something new for Google.
Cool. Let's go. So something new for Google. This is kind of a trick one, but it's exciting to me. It's Google Analytics 4 or GA4, which I'm sure a lot of you would have gotten emails about from Google over the past year. So GA4 is not new. It's been around for 18 months, but it's new now because as of last month, is essentially been forced on it. It's the only option for tracking on Google. So here we are. You may have used Universal Analytics or just Google Analytics. This is the next version of it. It's a upgraded version. It's a new version, not an upgraded version. And yeah, and it lets you collect, track, measure traffic, engagement metrics across all your websites and new to GA4 as well as your apps if you have one. Cool. So yeah, so sorry, we'll just go through 5 ways to get the most out of this new exciting product. And you know, it's scary, but it's exciting, which is what I'll say. So the first thing is bounce rate / versus engaged sessions. So a big question we get is, where's this metric gone? I can't find this metric, or it's really different. The answer is they've kind of renamed a lot of them, or they've removed them, or they've got all slightly different names. But all the data is still there, or at least all the useful data is. The one we get asked the most is for bounce rate, which they've renamed to engaged sessions. So yeah, I would say engaged sessions is a lot more useful. It captures a lot more accurate data on those who are actually interested in your site, and those who are more likely to purchase or to book or to do whatever you have your website there for. So yeah, the main thing on the left here is basically there's a great example of, a bounce rate was, if someone left your site really quickly. So, in theory, they didn't do anything. But the thing about bounce rate is if someone went on your site, they just wanted to call you, they clicked your call button, they, get on the phone, they book your whatever you sell, and then that would count as a bounce. But in reality, that's a great thing that's happened. So you want to capture the really great things, and engaged sessions will do that. So that's a really great benefit. So yeah, in summary, they're quite similar, but engaged sessions is like a better version, and they've moved away from the name to make that clear.
And I think that that's something that we used to always get questions about, right? It's like, well, why is my bounce rate high? And it's like, well, it's a good thing in this situation because all you wanted to do was, to call or to do the book now. And some customers, for their own reasons, didn't have the conversion tracking set up. So what that means, if I'm to summarize and understand what you're sharing, Tip, is that now in GA4, we don't call it bounce rate anymore. We call it engaged sessions. And it's taking in what the purpose of your website is and calling it a plus, right? Instead of a negative.
Exactly, definitely that.
Awesome.
So yeah. And the second one is GA's biggest strength is the machine learning capabilities. So GA4 can learn from all your data points and provide automated little snippet custom insights to you. These can save you time and provide valuable information for you and your business. So you see on the left here that we've got these little insights that if you've been on GA4, they pop up and they give you little snack-sized little pieces of information. So you see that it says, your campaign for organic search has spiked. And then, so if you know that you've made some SEO changes, you're like, great, I can literally screenshot that, take that to my boss and say, cool, look what we've done. Great, easy. You can see that they also give you little even bite-sized snacks, which is, active users on desktop in the US have spiked. So you can see, okay, what's happened to the US, like, where's the traffic coming from, and that kind of stuff. It gives to you. You don't need to go looking for it all the time, and that's a really great benefit of GA4. And then it'll figure out what you're interested in. So if you're really interested in your conversion rate, it'll keep giving you those, updates. So it says your conversion rate's down, you can say, oh no, what's going on? You can, use that information to quickly learn and fix it.
That's so interesting because we hear from a lot of people that they think GA4 isn't as friendly, but actually it is friendly. It's giving you, as you say, snack-sized little insights to what's happening. So, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Number 3 is attribution models. So, attribution models, I've got the real definition here, but my favorite analogy is using rugby. So, attribution models is how much credit should be given to each marketing touchpoint. So, touchpoint being, do they find you on Google search? Like, do they find you on Google Ads? Do they find you on, from an email? And it's basically giving credit to who brought the conversion to your website. And what an attribution model is it decides how much credit each touchpoint has. And a great way to think about this is rugby. So, Rugby World Cup's on later this year. So I like to think of the attribution model as scoring a try in rugby. So, your number 10 kicks the ball to the winger. I don't really watch that much rugby, but, the winger makes a great run, but maybe it was the kick that, you know, really broke up the play, and then they pass it over to, you know, someone who runs 2 meters and gets to try. Going back to marketing, in a last click, which is what it used to default to, it would give the credit to the very last touch point. So if someone saw you on organic search, they would get all the credit. But a lot of they're moving towards more advanced. So this is all data driven. So it knows that, you know, the number 10 kick was actually the thing that's really started the play. So they should get half the credit instead of before they'll get none. And then you know that this number 10, which let's say is Google Ads, is actually really important to your marketing funnel.
That is so great, because so often, Tip, the you know, people are spending their time writing blogs, or they're doing social media posts, and they're like, I don't know what the value is. Now they're going to be able to see what the value is. They're going to be able to see that customer journey that gives them the goal or that conversion. So, and I love that how visual it is, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so
Yeah.
exactly that. So, you know, if you're thinking that, oh, your blogs aren't helping, they actually are. And this is the way that, you know, they get some credit, and then you know that you can keep working on blogs because they're helping bring people in.
Beautiful. Hey, and I just want to know, we have got questions flooding in. Thank you, everybody. Keep them going. Keep them going. We're going to get through a couple of slides here, and then we'll look at answering some of them. So thank you.
Cool. Nice. So number 4, custom reports. So custom reports are just essentially the reporting in J4 is a lot more detailed. So you can really, you know, really mix and match things to make things work for you and your business. And, you know, you can build detailed reports. So I'll definitely go exploring on this. There's the reports tab in J4. Have a look at it, and yeah, you can find some great numbers to show to your board/owner, which is what we like to do. Cool. And then the 5th one, really quick. This is something that you won't notice, but it's a great change. So J4's introduced advanced referral spam protection. So the screenshot on the left is from UA, the old GA. And I'm sure a lot of you would have had this issue where you look at your referral list, which is, you know, where your traffic came from, and you get all this really strange sites from strange websites that have nothing to do with your business, and you're like, what is this? So Google removes all that for you, and which is great because they've got all the technology to do that now, whereas before you would have to manually do it. It would mess up your data. It would be a nightmare, and you'd have to go on these sites, but sometimes you wouldn't want to because, you know.
Yeah, I know you get this strange website that's supposedly giving you a lot of traffic from a country that you're not wanting anybody from, that has, yeah. And so now through AI, Google's scraping that junk out.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that is the 5 things. Okay, so Tip, we've got lots of questions, so I love that we're getting through these slides quickly, which hopefully means we'll be able to answer a lot of these questions. Let's move into something reliable, like, so Tip.
Yes.
Do you know what that picture is that we're calling for reliable?
It's the really big tree. I forgot the name. The big kauri tree.
That's right, Tommy Mahuta. That's right. So we can always rely on that beautiful, beautiful tree watching over us. So tell us something reliable that we can always count on.
Yes, great segue to Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile is if you've probably heard of Google My Business. So they renamed it last year. We're all, you know, slowly trying to call it Google Business Profile, even though we got so used to the other name. Don't know why they changed it, but this is what it's called now. So we'll roll with it. Hopefully everyone here should know all about Google Business Profile. They've got a thriving profile, but essentially what it does is it puts your brand in the center. It's really, really important because if you've got a profile, it works with search, maps, and even YouTube. It's everywhere, you know, all of the different Google properties and the whole ecosystem. Your business exists on Business Profile, and then it kind of exists on everything else through that. You know, fun key stats. twice as likely to gain customer trust. Woohoo! 38% higher chance of attracting visits, and like nearly 30% more likely to purchase, which is big numbers for something that is free and relatively easy to set up.
And I'm so glad that you chose this. Anybody that has been to a Tomahawk webinar or like did the Qualmark series with us, we talk about, I still call it Google My Business. We talk about GMB being one of the greatest backbone tools of Google's products that you can depend on and rely on to give you results, right? And we have so many examples, right? That if you optimize and you work your Google My Business, you know, you can ensure more direct bookings and not have to pay OTAs. It's social media, it's everything wrapped up. So yay.
Yeah, definitely.
For spotlighting the reliable GMB.
And the other important thing is, if you're sitting there being like, oh yeah, I've got mine, you know, check it every, you know, month, 2 months, just make sure that all like your hours are correct, your phone number is correct, your email is correct, your website's correct. All of that stuff is true, because there's nothing worse than, you know, I've been there when I've wanted to visit something and I look at the hours and like, cool, they're open at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, and I get there and they're shut, and that's like, you know, it's really disappointing. So, you know, make sure that all that info is there and it's updated, and you always make sure you update it.
Yeah, and remember that there's the Q&A. So if you don't answer the question, somebody else is. I just had somebody share that the posting isn't working on Google My Business. So for some tourism operators, you can't do posts on Google My Business. So let us know what kind of business you have, if you're an accommodation, if you're a tour operator, or what kind of accommodation you have, and we'll comment further on that. We'll comment more on that later on. I'll just say one of the things that people often come to us about Google My Business is they go, oh, some of our guests or passengers have put really ugly photos on my GMB account, and I can't take them off. And you're right, you can't take them off. But what that means is what you can do is just add more really, really beautiful photos to your GMB account. And basically you're gonna, in the simplest terms, push them down. Because if you put really beautiful ones, people are going to look at those. Google's going to see that those are the ones people are looking at, and their algorithm will then show those more often. And I see that you're an activity operator. It's a great question. We're going to add it to the end of the webinar to answer.
Cool. And yeah, if you needed, you know, tips on where to optimize it, we'll put a link in the chat of our ebook, and we'll put it in the email that we'll send you to this week. But, you know, just double check all of the stuff, you know, make sure you're not just doing it once, but you're checking it quite often. And also a little pro tip with Labor Day coming up in a few months and any public holidays, make sure if your hours are different, you can update these as for just the weekend. You can say on Labor Day, open extra, you know, that kind of stuff is really important. And cool, so that is our reliable, and then this is underrated.
All right, I'm going to point this out because I love Renee's, and so Renee, our general manager, and Paladini, our creative director, they chose Brussels sprouts as something that's underrated. I love Brussels sprouts. I don't think they're underrated. So anyway, just pointing that out.
Yeah, if anyone's got an air fryer, there's a, you know, air fryer Brussels sprouts is the great.
All right, talk to us.
Cool.
What's underrated?
Cool. Bid strategies. So Google Ads bid strategies, also known as automated bid strategies. So the sub headline is letting Google AI work for you, which is the thing to consider here. So automated bidding or bid strategy is essentially making the most of Google signals to maximize results based on your campaign goals, which should be your business goals, right? So essentially there's, you know, all these different options. So there's like, you know, you can maximize your clicks, you can maximize conversions. So that can be like your book nows, your calls, or whatever it is that you want people to do on your website. You can maximize your return on ad spend, which is ROI, which is return on investment. So that's basically making sure that, you know, if you only want to spend this money to get this much revenue, you can set it to do that. So really cool, really important. And yeah, this signals, and the good thing about Google is, you know, what do you call it, Gina? The Googleopoly of it all.
Googleopoly.
So they know from everything, from your YouTube, from your search history, from you know, that kind of stuff, that, you know, maybe I've tips really looking forward to go to Nelson later this year. So, you know, they're more likely to bid higher on me going to Nelson. But yeah.
So we have somebody who says that the new Google AI bid strategy is another way just for Google to make money. So Google is going to try to make money, but the AI actually helps you to make more money in our experience. And I think you're about to show some examples. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a really good point in terms of, like, I think whenever you're working with these, is always to be careful and don't just, you know, if you've used Google Ads, you'll see that they recommend all these things. Just have a think about it and, you know, just check, because, you know, sometimes they recommend things that actually aren't that good, but always just think in the background, like, you know, Google wants you to use Google Ads. So if you're making money on Google Ads, you're going to continue to use Google Ads. You're going to keep spending on Google Ads, and that's what Google wants you to do. So if you're making money, you're more likely to do that, right? So it's kind of like that's, you know, as long as you're careful.
There's always the human element, right? It's
100%.
like when people talk to us about ChatGPT, you can't let ChatGPT do everything. It's just a tool that you can use for foundation. With the bid strategies, you're using it as a tool for the foundation. You still need to look and optimize and make your best choices for your business.
Yeah, so 2 examples. Accommodation client, we had one of the team had a 30% increase in ROAS, which is return on ad spend, once they switched to a max conversions bid strategy. And remembering that they're spending the same amount of money and they're getting this much more, like, revenue, which is great. Adventure tourism operator saw a 26 increase in conversion rate after switching to a max conversion bid strategy, which is also great because, again, you know, you're just using the Google tools, you're spending the same amount of money, and then you're just using all the different signals that Google has. Because if you're not using any of these, you don't get any of that location data, that, you know, view browser history data, the YouTube data, you know. So even though I'm really likely to book a cycle tour in Nelson, if you're a Nelson cycle operator, you know, your Google Ads is more likely to bid on me because they know that, you know, based on my history, you know, maybe I did one in Queenstown like last year. All that stuff is quite.
Tim, can I ask you to go back to the previous slide, because we've got obviously some quite advanced people on the webinar today based on their questions, but I also can see some smaller operators that I recognize on board watching today. So in this bucket funnel that you have on the side, you're showing the different bid strategies that you can ask Google to work for you. Target search page location, target outranking shares, but then where we go to conversions, because everybody wants bookings, we've got some little phrases there that maybe not everybody knows. So can you please explain really quickly what those first 3 are?
Yes, so we don't really use enhanced CPC much, but that's basically, you know, making sure that, you know, your cost per click is, you know, is good and you're not wanting to spend too much on it. I haven't used that in a little while. Target CPA is cost per acquisition, which is, say, you know, you want to pay $3 for each book now click you get on your site. So you just say, I don't want to pay more than $3. So, you know, that's what that is. So you're basically, you know, saying, I want to spend $3 for that. And target ROAS, I've mentioned it before, but return on ad spend. So that's essentially making sure that, you know, say you want to make 500% ROI over, what your spend is, that's targeting that 500% or that 600%. And then, you can basically keep moving it up as you see your performance increase.
Oh.
I would quickly say that, if you're not using these yet, start with the max clicks first. That also uses automated bidding. And then that way you can get all the data in, and then Google can learn about what your customers are like. And then from there, you can move over to the conversion ones.
Perfect. Thank you. Hopefully that provided some value to a few people on board. Sorry to ruin your score. Let's talk about something DIY, something that people can do themselves with Google, or to help them on Google.
Yes, so we're trying to, Google is a big topic, so we're trying to tackle a bit of everything. So the next one is SEO, or search engine optimization, and we're just going to focus on on-site SEO and like some really basic keyword research. This is mostly targeted like really small on operators or people who haven't really used SEO much before. So most relevant to them, but everyone else, hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of SEO as well. If you don't know what it is, it's basically making sure that people who search for you or for something that you are relevant to can find you on Google or Bing or any other search engine. SEO, it's all about keywords. Keywords, if you haven't heard of, is a word or phrase on your website that matches what people are searching for. So, it's basically when people are putting things in Google, they're looking for you, or they're looking for something that you have. And yeah, we're just going to go through, some quick steps for, if you've never done SEO before, you never thought about it, this is quite, this can be quite helpful to you. So the first thing is just think about, 3 or 4 unique aspects of your business and what keywords would relate to them. We're going to use a bed and breakfast in Queenstown as an example. So, we've come up with lakeside, with a spa, walking distance, with a view. And once you've done that, hopefully, just think about, what your customers would like, or what your benefits are, right? You can find related keywords. So we've gone with the lakeside one, and yeah, literally just search that, scroll to the very bottom of your Google search page, and you should see these related searches. Pick the ones that are relevant. Obviously, not all of them are relevant. And then, yeah, just think, oh, actually, we really want to be that one. So maybe we are luxury, or maybe we are lakeside as well. I don't know. Just make sure you take the ones that you need, and then just keep doing that until you find,
And hopefully everybody has seen these before. It's at the very bottom of the page. Go past all the different websites, and on the very bottom, I'm sure you've all seen it. They're in the gray little boxes like that. Yeah, so that's just giving you ideas on other ones, right?
Yeah. Third step is, this is quite fun. So I'll just pause that for a second. So you can search a website to see if you have these keywords already, so we'll do this here on the video. Hopefully it plays well for most people. But so you go site, you go colon your website, so tomahawk.co.nz, and then you put the keyword that we're searching for. So, imagine we're searching for social media here. This will show you only results from your website. So, if you want to see what you show up for SEO, social media, or, lakeside accommodation, if you might realize, oh, we don't actually say lakeside at all. And, that's a quick thing to say. That's a big priority, because you've already identified earlier that this is, something that's his key selling point. Quietly, you can also search your competitor sites, but,
so this is like such a fun little way for people to understand why or why not they're not ranking, right? So it's like, oh, my website should be found for this. One of the things that we often get asked is, oh, let's keep using this Queenstown B&B as an example. I'm not found for Queenstown B&B, because Booking.com and Airbnb and TripAdvisor have them all. And the response is, yes, that's true, because they spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on ads, and they're huge sites. So what I love, Tip, is that you've shared with them to find things that are unique about your property, right? So that you're creating those long tail keywords, things that are more specific for you, and that are more relevant and rich to your website. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely. And like, yeah, the idea of this is, realistically, you're never going to rank higher for Queen Zone
Yeah.
B because there's
Yeah.
many, but also you're fighting the booking.coms, the
Yes.
Airbnbs, etc. But you potentially can rank kind of high for Lakeside or boutique, or those, we call them long tail keywords. Have you heard of them? Which are like slightly longer than like a regular keyword.
Cool. So this is just a fun little sneaky tool to see if your website is ranking for those words that are important. And then if they're not, boom, this is what you do, right?
Yeah, so what to do now, you've kind of realized, oh, we need a way to put these keywords. So you can, in simple terms, include these in your content, your headings, your URLs. Create blogs based on these topics. It's a really great way to, increase, like they call it authority, but just it's essentially telling Google that I know my stuff about, Lakeside, Queenstown. We've got a SEO ebook, DIY ebook with in-depth tips to take this further. We'll put it in the chat, just like that, magic. And then, yeah, this is really top line, really basic. So, if SEO was important to you and you're finding that you're struggling to rank high, I would refer to specialists and get help, because a lot of it can be quite, I guess, complex, and there's a lot of time needed to, it's a long-term thing.
Nice.
Cool. Lucky last subject is something trending. So, YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is short form video introduced by YouTube to compete with, TikTok and Instagram Reels, which I'm sure, you've heard of at length now, or, if you're not, maybe your grandchild, your child is on these tools. But everyone's on these tools now. And, everyone, including Meta and Google, really want to be on it as well. They've seen how well TikTok has gone and how it's, broken through and it's captured so much attention. So you'll see on the left, this is what a short looks like. They're pushing it really, really hard. So on my app now, when I open YouTube, the shorts are at the very top. So they really want people to be on shorts.
And then like on desktop, they're like, you don't even have to scroll far, and there's that whole carousel of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be that geek. Sorry. Can in the chat, can anybody let us know if you're currently doing shorts on YouTube or not? I'd be curious. So I'm making this about me right now, but I want to learn about you. Okay, yeah. This is YouTube's the second largest search engine in the world, right? Besides Google. It's like such a great opportunity for people, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, literally that. So, YouTube is the second largest search in the world, only beaten by Google itself. So, everyone's searching on it, and from a tourism perspective, people are just searching for, like literally, Nelson cycle tours, or, anything like that, that people are searching for, Google or YouTube puts the reels at the top now. So if you did have stuff on it, it's quite good if you had a Nelson cycle tour short.
It's powerful.
I'll just quickly play this video on the left. This is kind of what they look like. It's, just a cute little short video. This is just one about Queenstown, now that we're in that theme. But you'll see that like a lot of the videos, they're quite short. They're quite, they're literally like 3 seconds long, but they kind of just highlight it and then they get through it quite quick.
What I really like also, Tef, is that it's a combination of some video that they've taken, and they've used some B-reel
Yeah,
also.
definitely.
Yeah, so really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. They're important brand awareness. We mentioned, brand awareness using the YouTube search engine as well. So, I think there's an opportunity now to be on it, because not a lot of people are on it yet.
Good competitive advantage.
Yeah. It's quite cost efficient because it's free to post on it. You just need to invest the time. Mobile friendly. There's potential to go viral again because it's quite a new tool. So you kind of, using, there's less, I guess, saturation in the market for it, and you can create content for multiple platforms at the same time, which we'll go through in the next slide.
Yeah, because we've already got 2 questions on that exact topic.
I love it. I'm glad. I love good questions. How can you get started with YouTube Shorts? So the first thing is I would define your goals and making sure that you're like, this video, I want people to hear about me, or I want people to know that what we can do. Number 2 is research to get inspired. So, just see what others are doing, see what's working well for others, not just in our industry, but in other industries as well. See what's capturing attention. And the third one's really important, just capture footage every day. I know from, visiting tourist operators, there's always good stuff happening, and some of it you might think is boring, but it's actually quite interesting to people, and people like seeing what you're up to, or, even if it's just the people who work there, meeting them, that kind of stuff works really well. Use free editing apps to cut clips, add music, and then when you publish it, make sure you engage. Remember, YouTube is social media, and reply to people, say, if you get people from overseas, just like, we'd love to have you visit us. And the pro tip is to use third-party editing apps so you can repurpose this across different platforms.
So there's the question that we keep having pop up in the chat, is that can we repurpose these? So what people are asking is, I'm going to summarize, can we make a short for YouTube and then use it on Reels, or use it on TikTok, or post it on Google My Business? And you're saying yes, and you're saying that they should use a third-party editing app. So let's tell us 1 or 2 suggestions. Which ones would you suggest? I love that. The question just came in, by the way.
I saw that. That's a great point, because I wouldn't, like, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, they all have got like editing software, but a lot of the time it's quite hard to transfer it between other things. So that's kind of like a trap. You spend all this time building it in one platform, then you can't transfer it. I would use this thing called CapCut, which is actually a TikTok owned one, but you can download that and use it on other platforms. If you've got a Mac, you can use iMovie. That's pretty easy to use as well. Or was it Adobe? Any of the Adobe ones as well. If you're already paying for it, those are paid though, but they're quite powerful if it's something you really want to invest in.
Okay. All right. Well, let's include that in our follow-up email. I'm sure that Michelle will. She's already so let's include those tips. And we've got so many questions coming in. That's awesome. So let's go over something new. Is the GA4, which is not new, but it's new because it's been forced on us. Reliable is good old Google Business Profile or Google My Business, right? Underrated is that using the AI in the Google Ads Smart Bidding. DIY is 3 little steps that you gave to those keywords. And then trending is the YouTube Shorts, which is getting lots of questions. So let's move on to questions. We always answer the questions that people send in prior first, you guys, which we really appreciate. And what that means is that you can make sure that your question gets answered if you send it to us prior. So let's look at some of those. Tip: with the rise of voice search and the increasing use of digital assistants, how can we optimize our Google strategies to cater to this trend and ensure our tourism business remains visible and accessible in this new search landscape?
That's a fantastic question, because it's definitely quite a growing thing as everyone's getting, your Alexas and your smartphones and your Siris. I would think the key way to think about it is when you're asking Alexa or Siri or Google or whatever one, you're always asking a question. So you're always asking, hey, Gina, what's the directions to the closest pet shop? You're always asking questions. So if you optimize your SEO strategy to answer these questions that people are asking, that's a really great, way to think about it. And that's how you optimize it too, because people are asking for questions. That's like the key word there.
Cool. All right. So include in your SEO strategy, not just keyword phrases, but introduce questions so that that gets picked up. All right.
Blogs are a really great place to answer questions. So.
Very good. Blogs and your FAQ section, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Cool. How do we get Google to recognize spam, fake, bombarded reviews and delete them? This is a big one. We're hearing a lot about this. I don't know if we have a silver bullet for this one, do we?
No, yeah. The key thing to do is essentially, I'll do two things to start off with if you ever have this happen to you, is report it to Google. It's pretty easy to report and just say, they weren't, or this is spam, or this, they give you like options there. And the second thing is reply to them and just say, hey there, I've checked their records and we don't have, any record of you, visiting us or staying with us. Please email, I'll email if you have any questions, and then that kind of lets, if people are looking at reviews, then they know, oh, this is actually not as literally just saying, this isn't actually a real review. I don't need to answer this. And then they can scroll down to find the great reviews from your great customers.
Cool. Do you have any tips on the best simple Google adverts investment to drive prospects to the website, to their website? What's your, this is putting you on the spot. What would you, if somebody came to you and said, what's the one Google advertising investment I should do to drive prospects to my website? What would you say?
I would say that's a big question, but I would say I would just get started and just start with a brand campaign and see what people are doing, and then get that data in, and then from there you can we mentioned the smart bidding, and if you get enough data and you've got all your things set up to track everything, you can start seeing so
I said, you said something really important there. If your tracking is all set up, right? Yeah. So you're saying do a brand campaign, get the data, and then invest in there for either search or YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, if you're, there's, unfortunately, I wish it was simple, but which is the big word there. But start with brands, start with like the really relevant ones, and then just keep growing from there.
Oh, cool. Okay. In our experience at Tomahawk, what's the most common problem faced by New Zealand tourism businesses and their Google campaigns?
So great segue, because we just talked about that kind of, but I would say a lot of the time we're thinking too much about the conversions at the end and not the rest of the 5 stages of travel, and all of the the awareness, the traffic, all that different stuff. We're just thinking about the conversions, but sometimes you take a step back and make sure that you've got everything else there as well.
I would add to that, if I may, that due to tourism, for a lot of people not being a big ticket product, and because of the last 3 years that we've gone through, budgets to invest is also a challenge, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. How often should you change or update your Google ads?
I would say definitely as often as possible. Like as you get the data in, I would change it and see what's working well. Definitely minimum every 2 weeks. But if you're just starting, I'd do it more frequently. Once your campaign's matured a bit, you can start making more refined changes. But at the start, I'd definitely keep an eye on it and change it very often.
The next 2 parts to this question, which is what's a good CPC and how much should you spend? We need like a magic calculator, because the answer to this is how much does your product cost? What's your cost of sale? What's your ROI that you're looking for? It's so there's so many factors that come in, right? It's more, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm answering it for you. Would you like to answer that, Tip?
No, that's perfect. I wish we had a calculator. Yeah, like, it depends.
Yeah, it really
That's the cop-out answer, but yes, that's the answer.
It is the cop-out answer, but it's the true answer. And that's why when we work with customers, we always go through, right? All of those questions. What does success look like? What's the cost of your product? What's your cost to deliver your product? What's your willing cost of acquisition? And how much you spend per month on Google it's really, if you're getting the ROI, the more you spend, if you're getting the ROI, it just keeps growing. So it's one that, because you've come to these webinars, maybe you'll be the lucky winner that gets a free hour consult with the team, and we can answer that one specifically for your business. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple of minutes left. And we've got loads and loads of questions. Would you like to choose one of the ones that you want to answer next, or?
Yeah, I've made a magical short list of things, so I'll kind of just start going through, the ones, and if we don't get to a question, we will answer it and send it out as an email. Just so if we reach a question.
Yeah, all questions will be answered in the follow-up email.
Yes. So the first one is, are there any places in setting up J4 where we could go wrong? Great question. I'll just make sure that, you've put it on, you've got your data coming through from like the right website and that it is coming through. I think that's the main thing, just talking to your developer and making sure that, it's where you like, and your data is coming through and just checking that it is. I'd say that's the really key important thing. Everything else past that is kind of, you kind of go in and I guess figure out, but I think that's the most important thing in terms of what could go wrong.
Okay. Easy.
Going to Google Ads, some of our competitors are using our company name as their keyword. Should we? That's a fun.
Oh, that's yeah. Some people, yeah, sorry, I'll let you answer.
No. Do you have anything to say on this, Gina? From you?
Well, it's, that goes back to what we were previously calling a bounce rate. Some people use their competitor as a keyword, but reality is that if somebody then clicks on that link and goes to another website, not the one they were intending, hopefully that user is going to hit the back button and go back and try and find your website. So you do increase that bounce rate, or that, what's the new term? I just forgot.
Engagement rate.
And you're going to affect your engagement rate. It's, some people use it as a strategy.
I used to, I think you can do it. But as you said, you're going to mess up your data a bit, A, and B, it's quite expensive because Google knows that people aren't actually looking for you. And if I'm looking for, the blue hotel and, I end up on the green one, I'm like, that's not right. Actually, this is a great example of companies who do this a lot. If you ever search for Pizza Hut, like Domino's always comes up and vice versa, because they're aggressive bidding on the other one as like the two,
So you're also going to be paying higher for the ad.
Yeah. So it's something that, does happen, and, but as long as your ads are good, you should still be showing up higher than your competitor anyways, because you're more relevant, and that's what Google prioritizes, because Google doesn't want someone to get mad at Google for giving them the wrong thing, right? Next questions were on Reels. So I guess the first one is, we've kind of answered, but you can repost your shorts on Reels and on TikTok. That's a really important point from a fifth section. So, meaning that you're doing it, shooting 3 birds with 1 stone, which is great. The next one is YouTube better than Instagram or equal. I think they're really different, and it's really important to just think about that people are different on each platform, and then people are looking for different things on each different platform. So yeah, once you do post, you might think that, oh, our post does really well on Reels, but not on YouTube Shorts or not on TikTok. You might think, oh, that's might be just because they're looking for something different.
Cool.
Cool. Bidding strategy. So great question. Explain bidding strategy, please. The help column is confusing to me at least. That's fair. I'll bring up my slide again, and hopefully we can quickly run through this. But bid strategies is essentially what you want to do is you want to find out what your business goal is. So what you want this campaign to do, and then you want Google to match it. That's kind of the gist of the bid strategy. So I want people to call me. I'm going to tell Google I want people to call me. That's the whole gist of it. And the whole how it works is Google knows that Tip is more likely to call you when he's on his phone, when it's during business hours, when he's at home. So then if I'm searching for, X products, if all these factors are true, they're gonna be like, oh, this is it, there's a good chance of this happening. Might not happen, but it's more likely than not, right?
Right. Hey, Tip, we've gone over a couple minutes because we've got so many questions to answer. But before we go, the watch.
Yes, the watch. I've got a little Game Boy watch. You can't play games in it, but it's it's my watch for fun days like today.
Okay, I just had to ask. You guys, I love, and I'm sure Tip does, we all do, that there are so many questions, because what that means is that you're interested in these topics, and what it means is that you want to learn more. So thrilled that we're going to have to increase our time together as a team, post this webinar to go through all of your questions. We are going to answer every question, and I think we've got some ideas for some new webinars to be great, which is great. So Tip, thank you for all your Google knowledge. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We so appreciate it, and the questions mean that you're interested. We are going to get them all back to you, and we've got blue skies here in Auckland. I hope you guys do too, so that you can enjoy this day. And I'm running out of words, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Thanks, everybody. Kia ora.
Thank you.
Cheers.